They tell you it's presidents, they say it's parliaments, prime ministers, and popular vote. That you have a voice, that you decide who leads. But behind the podiums, behind the elections, lies a truth so buried, so terrifying, it doesn't appear in history books or breaking news, because the people who run the world don't want to be seen. You've never voted for them, you've probably never heard their names. But they decide what you eat, what you believe, who you fear, and whether your country goes to war. They are the invisible architects of modern civilization, and they've already decided your future. Let's begin with the name that's whispered in high finance, BlackRock. It sounds like a bank, but it's not. It's more powerful than banks. BlackRock manages over $10 trillion. That's more than the GDP of nearly every country on Earth. They don't just invest in companies. They own pieces of nearly every major corporation on the planet. Apple, Amazon, Google, Pfizer, ExxonMobil, even rival banks like Morgan and Goldman Sachs. If it's big, BlackRock is inside it. But how? Through something called index funds. It sounds harmless, safe, passive. It's not, because owning small shares in everything adds up to control over everything. And it's not just BlackRock. There's Vanguard and State Street. Together, these three shadow firms control more corporate assets than any government on Earth. When CEOs make decisions, they don't look to voters. They look to these stakeholders. But it doesn't end there. These firms also own parts of the media you consume. They invest in weapons manufacturers. They bankroll the companies that make your food, build your homes, and mine the minerals for your phones. The same people funding green energy, owning big oil, the same groups that invest in peace talks, profit from war. They play both sides. Because in their game, there are no sides, only profit. But who runs them? This is where it gets darker. At the top of these firms are individuals whose net worth is impossible to confirm. Their names never trend, their photos rarely surface. They don't run for office because they already run everything. Some are families Rothschild, Rockefeller, Walton. Some are royal dynasties like the House of Saud. Others are tech titans Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and the late Steve Jobs who, through their companies, hold sway over how billions of people communicate, consume, and think. Still think elections change everything. Presidents come and go. But these networks stay, permanent, untouched, unaudited, and when a politician gets too close to the truth, they're discredited or silenced. Remember JFK. He spoke of secret societies that operate in shadow, beyond democratic reach. He warned of an invisible government. Weeks later, he was dead. Coincidence or consequence? These power brokers don't gather in public forums. They meet at places like Davos, under the veil of economic discussion. At Bilderberg, where no media is allowed, and even world leaders must leave their staff behind. At Bohemian Grove, where some of the most powerful men on earth gather under redwood trees and perform rituals that mock the very democracy they swear to uphold. Is it a joke or a mask? Because masks are powerful. They let you hide in plain sight. Smile while you conquer. Shake hands while you scheme. And speaking of schemes, have you heard of the World Economic Forum's Great Reset? It's pitched as a solution, a chance to build back better after global crises. But behind the jargon is a chilling idea: you will own nothing, and you will be happy. That's not hope. That's control, because when they own everything, you rent your life. Your home, your car, your data, even your freedom on lease. And they don't stop at economics. They fund the science that shapes public policy. They influence algorithms that decide what you see. They sponsor think tanks that write the reports politicians quote. The term is soft power, but its impact is hard, real, and inescapable in the world they're building. It's one where dissent is misinformation, where privacy is obsolete, where every action is tracked, every opinion recorded, every human behavior commodified, you become the product, the lab rat, the controlled variable in a global experiment you never agreed to. So, why don't we resist? Because they've mastered something even more powerful than money or guns: narrative. They write the story you live inside. They own the platforms where outrage is harvested. They fund the causes you're told to love, and the ones you're told to hate. They use division like a scalpel, cutting society into tribes, identities, ideologies. Because as long as you're fighting your neighbor, you'll never ask, who's pulling the strings? And here's the final twist: it's not a room full of men stroking cats. It's not a villain's lair beneath a volcano. It's a system, a hydra with many heads. If one man falls, another rises. If one company collapses, another absorbs it. It doesn't need a leader, because it is self-preserving. A machine, and you're inside it, born into it, educated by it, employed by it, entertained by it. So, who really runs the world? It's not your president. It's not your parliament. It's not even the billionaires you think you know. It's the people who make kings, the ones who never appear in headlines, the ones who fund both sides of every story. They're not in the spotlight because they own the spotlight. And if you're wondering why you didn't learn this in school, why no one on the news ever says it, it's simple: they don't want you to know. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. You begin to notice the patterns, the cycles, the fingerprints left behind after every natural crisis, every accidental war. And suddenly, the world doesn't feel like chaos anymore. It feels designed by people you'll never meet, in rooms you'll never enter, making decisions you'll never hear until it's already too late. So ask yourself, are you really free? Or us managed? And next time you cast a vote, ask who counts it, who funds it, who benefits from it, because the most dangerous thing about the people who run the world is that they've convinced you they don't exist.